So, you are telling me that you don't have a top 10 best, most good, epic bosses? What?
Are you autistic?
Cause I am. So yes, today I'm here to inform you on what are my favorite ever good bosses. And what am I going to take in consideration to do this list? That's really easy actually, my opinion. So prepare yourselves and or your ass and let's go. Kicking off the list at number 10 I have Dante and the other guy versus Virgil on Devil May Cry 5. Man, bro, to be honest I don't really remember a lot of things from this game. The only things that I remember are motorcycle killing things, Dante doing this cool move, and this fight. Really cool way to end the game. Just the right amount of difficulty, the setting is really cool, the fight itself, man.
What an incredible fight!
You are there slicing up the dude and then boom, demon form. And when you are going to punch each other, boom, a three-way. At number 9, and this is one of the best games that I have ever played, and of course the bosses needed to be good as well, and I am talking about Hollow Knight on Hollow Knight. I am probably putting this boss on top of the list because I only finished the game once and I only did this ending, so I didn't fight this mob and I didn't finish up the DLC because this cocksucker is 100% impossible and everyone that says he defeated him is lying, okay? But either way, this boss is incredible. The attacks, the music, the vibe. This game is all about the vibe and this boss just nails it. Just one more thing, really quickly. Can we agree that Silksong is a collective illusion of some kind? Where the fuck is that game? Number 8, and this is a weird one and a different one. Let me explain. I am talking about the many arms lady from The Evil Within 1. Yes, from the first game because that's where I find her to be more dangerous. This girl, she gives me the chills, man. Mainly because she has a lot of hands and I can only imagine what she could do with all of those hands. Probably not much because my dick only needs like 2 fingers to be handled and she would probably say that it is the tiniest little wiener that she has ever seen. But that's that's pretty average. I mean, that's normal size. On all seriousness, I really think that all the encounters that you have with her are really terrifying. You always have pretty scarce ammo, you fight her in tiny spaces, it's just so claustrophobic and I love it. Now, number 7, and this is where the real shit starts. And when I say real shit, I don't really mean real shit because that would be... When I say real shit, I mean From Software bosses and God of War bosses start. And to start off, I'm going to talk about Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder from Dark Souls 1. This is the first boss from Software that really got me stuck. Dark Souls 1 wasn't my first From Software game. My first From Software game actually was Dark Souls 2. And as you can probably tell, I didn't have much problems with the main bosses of that game. Of course, if we don't take in consideration falling 100 fucking times to this lava pit against this fucking lava. But taking that aside, it was a pretty smooth ride. But Dark Souls 1 wasn't really a challenge too. Even the fat guy and the skinny dude, they never gave me much trouble. But then this fucker arrived. I remember it perfectly. Back in the day, my mom wouldn't let me play in the middle of the week. I was only allowed to play on the weekends. And if I'm not mistaken, this motherfucker took me like 4 weeks to kill. And when I defeated him, it was like afternoon on a Sunday and I had been trying to defeat him since fucking waking up, and after so many fucking hours I was finally able to defeat him. I think that feeling was the one that really got me stuck into liking these games. Everything on that fight is almost perfect. The lore, the music, the vibe itself. It's so fucking good. Now at number 6, almost cracking the top 5, we got God of War 3 with Hades, the god of Underworld. Stick to the end because there will be one more time where God of War will be mentioned in this list. But now it's time for Hades, the god of Underworld. It was kinda hard to choose a boss from this game specifically. Every major boss is basically on the same level of good, but for me, Hades takes the cake. You start a fight in this claustrophobic cave, you don't really see shit, and then you walk to him and, you know, fight him and boom, light. Wow! I mean, to kill him, you literally have to kill pieces of his body. What do you want more? And actually, you want more. There's more on the end of the fight. On the ending, you know, you have to suck the soul out of him. Like suck Now, number 5, and the one that gave me the most trouble, and the one that made me question my will to still be alive, Radahn from Elden Ring. This game had its share of amazing bosses, I mean incredible bosses, but Radahn for me was the most memorable by far. Even the preparation for the fight was amazing. You enter the castle and you hear all about this formidable warrior and this festival that is being prepared, gathering a bunch of people to try and defeat this giant fucker. Then you go down on an elevator and you are met with spears seemingly coming out of nowhere. You summon your homies, you go there and you die. A lot of times. This boss made me change the build to a magic one so I could defeat him with a bow and arrow from afar, and I am not ashamed of it. But I mean, being this difficult was one of the key things that made this fight so memorable. He is literally on top of a mini dying horse. How better could it be? Number 4, and now it's time for Ishin the Swordsmith. If there is one thing that I like about Sekiro, is the fact that the boss fights feel like cutscenes. I don't know, man, the combat mixed with the flow of gameplay makes every fight really cinematic, and Ishin wasn't different. Throughout the fight I was not only shitting my pants, but also on disbelief, because I thought that From Software games could never reach this type of cinematography, but thankfully I was very wrong. When the third phase hits, yes, because 2 phases weren't enough, you are met with fucking lightning bolts coming from the sky, jumps, spears and whatnot. The only thing keeping this fight down is the fact that you have to fight this dude first. Yes, it's not a 3-phase fight, as I said, it's actually a 4-phase fight, but it's lore-wise, okay?
Fuck that shit.
Now, the number 3. Drums, please. I have Gay from Dark Souls 3. What a way to finish this masterpiece of a trilogy. There are tons of good bosses in Dark Souls 3. I mean, this list could be filled with Dark Souls 3 bosses, but I had to choose one, and Gale took the spot easily. Firstly, you are met with this immense land of nothingness. The feeling of being alone in this ending world is just incredible. Then you see this guy like walking and you go to fight him, and my man, I really thought I could never beat him. I remember that I was really strong, but even being really strong, his health bar, man, it was so fucking huge, I did no damage. Wow! This fight is all about commitment and persistence. And you know, when you are fighting him, you reach like half of the health bar, and there is a cutscene and you're like, whoa,
what's going on?
Lightning bolts coming from the fucking sky, and twists and crossbows. That's what's happening. Such an amazing duel and such a good way to finish up this trilogy. I'm gay. Now, number 2, and this one is really close to the first one, and I'm talking about Baldur versus Kratos. Yes, I'm not putting Thor versus Kratos, even though I think that Ragnarok is the best game overall. I still think that the first game has the best fight overall, and it's really about the wow factor. I am considering the 2 main fights that you have with him. The first one, you are at your house, and then this skinny looking guy comes up, and you start talking with him, and then he punches you, and then you boom, you smack him, and then boom, you are thrown into fucking space. And with this, it starts one of the most cinematic fights ever created. Or at least I thought so, because when you reach the end, you fight him again. But this time he has fire powers, ice powers. He has his mom controlling a giant man. And all of a sudden, the giant serpent comes and shonk! Amazing fight, but the first one managed to be even more amazing. And number 1, and it's another one from Software. I know. And if you are a really hardcore fan of these types of games, you already know what boss I'm talking about. I'm talking about Ludwig from Bloodborne. What? Were you thinking that I was going to say a random ass boss that it's kind of bad so we could have a fun little moment here? Do you take me as a normal person? Do you think I would get that low? Man! I'm at God level! Lightning bolts shooting from my fingertips! For that fun little moment I have a joke planned. So, listen. Ludwig should not be a weird horse. Why? Well, I will tell you. He should actually be a weird cow, because he uses the holy moonlight sword. Please call my mom. This fight is just on another level. You start fighting this weird creature with uncoordinated attacks, and halfway through, it transforms into a majestic horse and it starts performing the one horse, two guys video, or whatever the name is. If you are a man of culture, you know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately. Or fortunately. I don't know you. You are fucking weird. For me, this is the pinnacle of From Software bosses. The music, the lore, the wow factor, the fight, the reward that you get from the fight, everything is amazing. And if Elden Ring doesn't have at least 70% of this quality, I will commit manslaughter. And with manslaughter, I mean I will, you know, very much little guys coming. Okay, I think this is it. You now know what my favorite bosses are. You probably wasted 10 minutes of your life. I don't know how long this video will be. So, thank you for watching. Get a fucking life. And peace.